The Founding Fathers, American Revolution, our Constitution, our history, America. Thanks so much for tuning in as we discuss the people, places, events, and battles that turned 13 separate colonies into the greatest nation on earth, the United States.
Welcome back, Patriots. I am your host, Ron Kern, and I'm so glad that you're here. I want to thank you for allowing me to share my passion for the Revolution and our country's history with you. In previous episodes, I've discussed the video series that I started about 3 months ago called the Patriot Power Freedom Files, which is on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. As I'm going to start posting the audio from the Freedom Files as short episodes right here within the Patriot Power Podcast. But if you still want to watch the video, I have all of them indexed on our website, patriotpowerpodcast.com. Once there, you just click Freedom Files, and they are all organized in order and available to you. I will likely post one Freedom Files per week, so, if nothing else, you'll have new episodes and more information to listen to more frequently. Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Ron with the Patriot Power Freedom Files, episode number 2, and I think you're going to enjoy this one quite a bit. Yesterday, in 1780, the verdict of one of the most famous acts of betrayal was ordered, at least for one of the 2 men that were involved. These 2 men, who were on opposing sides of the American Revolution, would write letters to each other. Eventually, they would meet in person, and their plan would be talked about for centuries. One man's name would be synonymous with the word traitor. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. Benedict Arnold and John André's fate was quite unfortunate, as I have studied both men at length, and both of them were really remarkable people. Benedict Arnold was hands down the best military general of the entire Revolution on either side, and even British leaders said the same thing, and as do historians over the ages. Benedict Arnold was just that good. And since the Freedom Files isn't the place to go into all aspects in great detail, I'm going to oversimplify and summarize this event for you. Benedict Arnold was brave, strong, and fearless. He was shot twice in the leg in 2 separate battles, forcing him to be at a like you call it a desk job, rather than being out on the battlefield. It was Benedict Arnold who rallied troops and actually won the battle at Saratoga. This victory alone was what solidified the French in joining the Americans, and with them eventually winning the war. It was Arnold who led ships on the Battle of Valcour Island, delaying the British an entire year, which allowed the new Continental Army to form and grow. He has pages and pages of accolades, and without Benedict Arnold's efforts, the war would have turned out much different, and I don't think in a good way. Benedict Arnold was not given credit or even mentioned for his courageous leadership at Saratoga. He was not given credit for the taking of Fort Ticonderoga either. He had not been reimbursed for all of the money, and it was a tremendous amount, that he spent personally out of his own pockets for his men and supplies. This made him feel slighted, unappreciated, and with his wife, Peggy Shippen, helped push him over the edge and contemplate, maybe I could do better if I fought for the British. Enter John André. Now, André was a major in the British Army, and he was in charge or at the head of their intelligence department. André was super smart. He could play numerous instruments. He even wrote plays. Very attractive, very much an amazing guy. He just one of those guys that had it all. So Arnold reached out to André and communicated. They started communicating, and it became more and more frequent. And their plot was solidified as they eventually met in person on the banks of the Hudson River in New York. Arnold gave him the plans, maps, troop counts, and all information about West Point, which would allow the British to take control over it. Now, West Point was strategically located, and whomever had control over it yielded many, many great benefits. André, with the plans that he put in his boot, walked through the forest in civilian clothes and was stopped by 3 militiamen. These men questioned him and searched him and found the plans of West Point. Shortly after that, it was learned that, in fact, Benedict Arnold and John André were working together, making André a captured spy because he wasn't in uniform, and Benedict Arnold a traitor. Arnold fled to a British ship, and André was a prisoner. After a brief military trial, André was found guilty and sent to the gallows as a spy. He did request that he be shot by a firing squad as an officer, but George Washington did not allow it. Instead, his fate would be at the end of a rope. André died by hanging on October 2nd, 1780, in Tappan, New York. He was actually mourned by the vast majority present and even by those who were his enemies. Everybody that was present at his hanging were quite sad, and many were reported to actually cry. Alexander Hamilton and the Marquis de Lafayette fought to not have him hung. Many others also wanted André to be shot or used in a prisoner exchange, making friends and impressing all who came into contact with him. He had a lot of charisma, John André. Had Arnold not defected to the British, he would have gone down in history, I believe, as the second most important figure, right behind George Washington. John André was just 34 years old, and I often wonder what would have become of him and Benedict Arnold had their paths not crossed. So yesterday, his trial sent him to the gallows, and in 2 days, October 2nd, he would meet his fate. On the 2nd, it will mark the 243rd anniversary of John André's death. There are lots and lots of amazing and interesting details surrounding this particular event, and I encourage you to do some further research. It's pretty darn fascinating. Or you can always tune in to my podcast at patriotpowerpodcast.com. It's also on all platforms where you get your podcasts. I hope that you have a better appreciation for both Benedict Arnold and John André, and please follow or subscribe so you are notified when new videos are available. Learning about history is supposed to be fun, interesting, and exciting. It's not just memorizing names and dates. And I hope through my videos and also my podcast that I accomplish that for you. Until next time, have a very blessed week, and tell a veteran thank you for their service. I'd appreciate if you would consider doing a review of my podcast, as it takes less than a minute. And why do I want more? Because the more reviews it receives, the easier it is for others to find it, learn from, and experience the American Revolution. If you want to help even further, you can become a monthly supporter or make a one-time donation. You can do this by clicking Support Podcast at the top of my website.
Thanks for listening, and hope that you tune in next time with us here at the Patriot Power Podcast. Make sure that you hit subscribe so you'll get notified when our new episodes are available for you. And we hope that you check out our websites, which include our show notes, links, documents, and more at patriotpowerpodcast.com or ilovegeorgewashington.com. Until next time, hope that you and your family have a blessed week. And remember, be safe and tell a veteran thanks for their service.